plate.
Really? I don't think it was an accident he showed up.
Why do you say that? They have a history?
McGregor is a agent for, I don't know if you ever heard the rumors from months ago where members of BCSO would actively target gangs on behalf of their relatives on Forum Drive.
Oh.
McGregor has been a long-time agent. So, you know, you make a phone call, keep an eye out.
Something starts happening.
Yeah, something happens, what's going on? Because, a deputy comes through, they're going to have their blip popping up.
If she's not part of the clique, well, she's the enemy.
Exactly that. How's funding? Is all that stuff looking good?
Yeah, we're about to burn through 500,000 of it.
Oh, good shit. Latest, this may be relevant. I spoke to Sean, in regards to like the penal code stuff. I think most of them are down to revert it. Hart and McNee. He didn't name names, but he alluded to them being against the idea, even though the governor's pretty much,
told him you have to.
Said that you must.
Exactly. Sean retorted, if you have a problem, then wake up and make the argument, which is exactly right.
Yes.
I love the energy he's bringing.
Regardless over the whole Jana Pierce thing, because Hart and McNee both did the Jana Pierce impeachment, and you remember the result of that, where they declared, yes, we find cause for this impeachment, but we're going to dismiss it and handle it behind closed doors. We were waiting for it to go to the docket, because they always post their results on the docket. And the moment they put that in writing on the docket, we were going to impeach them for exceeding the mandate of their office. But they haven't put it on the docket. It's been 3 weeks now.
Oh my God.
And it's like, okay, well, if you're going to play that game, then we're going to impeach you for dereliction of duty.
Yes.
Because if we have 24 hours or if we have 72 hours to post to the docket, if we put somebody on a hag charge, they should have 72 hours to post the results of any of their verdicts.
Agreed. There's another bit that might assist. There was over the recent overturning of a warrant, there's a whole shit show that came out of that. And
I bet.
Bailey wrote a letter, the one that I believe he shared with us and members of the judiciary. Sean asked, where's the reply? And they haven't given one yet. They also haven't given the documents. You may have seen like the letter I posted on the penal code thing,
Yeah.
That hasn't been produced either. Sean has requested it. They haven't responded to him even.
Jesus Christ.
So,
it's just more and more dereliction.
Exactly that. And to the point that I believe the governor was making, and I agree with, you don't have to be around. You have to fulfill your duties though. Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's we will be the bill stuff is getting pushed through. And we penciled in meeting weekly with the judiciary. We're gonna have members of we're gonna rework, we're gonna try to categorize all the changes that did come through and revisit them and find a way to get some of the right changes in place, like weapons scheduling, revisit this warrant overturning by actually having a standard so that warrants should be able to be overturned, but it isn't because another judge has a different opinion on probable cause, but rather the evidence in the warrant needs to be grossly out of like an example, right? The evidence itself has to be grossly misconstrued in it, right? So
yeah, there's an argument on the technicalities.
Yeah, technicalities is stupid. It's got to be like there was something grossly wrong with the warrant, right? Either from a legal or evidentiary standard.
Yeah, like falsified evidence or incorrectly inputted evidence that didn't make sense.
Yes.
was misinterpreted or something like that?
The same, I think we want to revisit on the good faith exception, which was introduced also by Weiss, but because it was never defined, good faith exception has so many applications. Without guidelines, we're opening a lot of Pandora's boxes that is bad for everybody. So,
as well as conspiracy, man, y'all have got to tighten down conspiracy.
That is
using the fuck out of that one.
So that's what we're planning. I think the first 3 criminal codes we're going to tackle is crimes against persons. So that goes from everywhere from assault all the way up to murder. Expanding on murder charges, like for example, the premeditation, the malice afterthought, what that is from a legal definition. We're going to do robberies, crimes against people, and weapon traffic. So those are the 3 big ones that we want to get done in the next week and a half. That's going to replace a lot of the pieces of legislation that are already there and is something a little bit more concise. And then through bills that are passed, we can expand on it, right? Yeah. Once that is in place, we do want to go after things like fraud, like financial related stuff. And we're going to be introducing enhancement charges. So as an example, a bribery should not be $500 or $50,000. Bribery should be, we don't know how we're going to dice it yet, but it could be like you can get minor bribery, but then there may be one that requires a judicial decision. And what I mean by that is, like, to use an example, if I say, hey, Barrett, turn around, don't look at me, like, kick this stop sign down, right? Sure, $500, whatever. But if I'm like, delete this report, that's way worse. So certain things should be, like, things like bribery, things like extortion, need enhancements based on the magnitude of what it's doing, right?
Yeah.
So that's
what is y'all's plans for condensing robbery? Because I hate robbery in its current stance.
I'm open to a lot of ideas. The first step is is it needs to be an iterative process, which is why bills are going to assist with this. The first phase is to take what we currently have, so legally nothing changes, just the formatting of what the criminal code looks like. So in other words, that criminal code will condense like 4 pieces of legislation, will define out why robbery is bad, what its effects are, and lay out something based on what we have today. And then we can open up that discussion for more specific changes. For example, should we umbrella more things together, right? Even if there's an umbrella, how do you categorize, like, as an example, I'm not saying we're going to do this, but if you came with a deagle, a shotgun, and an AR-2 Polito, and you robbed it, I could see an argument where there's a umbrella charge that lets you, that doesn't hit you for those weapons separately, but those weapons are still can be used as evidence for bigger crimes, like, you know, for like a raid warrant or stockpiling or something. I'm not saying we're going to do that, but let's say that's a conversation that opened up. That would happen through a bill and as a part of a grander discussion with law enforcement, civilians, etc., and analyze, like, what are the pros and cons of it, both in terms of processing, in terms of, you know, economic impact, and all those kind of things.
Yeah, so I keep trying to think of all the different ways I would change it, because I just hate robbery, the robbery charge in its current iteration, and that there's like, I think there's 7 different versions of robbery right now.
No, there's 4.
And that's after the condensed. When I search for robbery, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different robberies right now in charges. And yeah, they're all for different things, but then it's like you say, it's nothing's fully umbrella. It's okay. Well, they robbed a store. They did this. They also did this. Well, it's this type of robbery, so that encompasses this and this and this. What if we just made a straight up fucking robbery charge that was a very baseline one? So it's the same robbery charge whether you rob a civilian on the street with a knife and get 26 bucks out of their pocket, or you rob the Maze Bank Arena or the Polito Bank, and that the charges are based on the possession of the value of the stolen product that you get. So if, say, somebody robs Polito Bank and they get a fuck ton of gold bars, well, if the biggest heft of the fine comes from gold bar possession, do you risk it by splitting the gold bars up between 5 different people so that if one person gets caught, you still make out like it? But then the risk is if all 5 of you get caught, then you get that many more charges.
I agree with where you're going with this.
VIP situation. And it's like, well, if we pile them all on one person, then we protect the VIP, and as long as that one person gets out, then we still make out like bandits.
I hate,
and it helps. It makes it.
I'm
so
with you
you
100%.
can focus on one person.
I think it's idiotic. The amount of arrests I'm aware of, in which people are getting arrested for robbery and they never actually get the loot. The way that it's been gamified, in my opinion, is they say, "Oh, we don't care about the loot. We know you robbed it," but there wasn't any evidence that they actually have this stuff. Actually, I don't know. I think this is a very good discussion, and I do think that we should encourage law enforcement to focus on loot. I'm going to go a little bit further and say, as someone who watched a lot of robbery TV shows and allegedly never had anything to do with robberies ever, I remember on these TV shows you would see these massive bags that people would have labeled uniquely with the, let's say Polito Reserve or something, and law enforcement would focus on that bag.
Well, that's how it used to be with Maze Bank. When people robbed Maze Bank, they would bring in duffel bags, and you'd be like, "Oh, focus the people with duffel bags," because that's the score.
If you don't get the bag, I don't think the charge should be as high. I also equally do not have a problem that if they don't find the bag and they have evidence of who they got it, I have no problem with someone kicking the doors in.
Yeah. I'm also of the opinion that we need to expand the classifications of firearms. There are so many different kinds of firearms in this town now. And it feels almost... It feels wrong to basically narrow it down to 2 classifications at this point. There are... Hold on, I counted this out one day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. There's 42 different weapons available on the streets that we've...
Really?
Yeah. So, I mean, how do you break it down from 42? And,
I'm down for all of these kind of things because and this is the big thing that I believe the governor has been saying from the very beginning. We are not living in the past. We literally can mold this city to what makes sense based on what's happening. And so if it makes sense to break down classifications, let's do it. Like maybe there's a tier for low tier firearm, like pistols. Maybe the heavies are the fine and time it is today. Maybe if, I don't know, we start seeing scorpions or some shit like that on the street or whatever. You know the shit that people used to use back in the day? Like used to crack the window open and like whatever?
Yeah.
Maybe that's something else. And then you've got maybe, another one for... Wait, you've been seeing them?
Yeah, there's 7 of them.
What the fuck?
Yeah. It's funny because, like, when we send the casings to these firearms for analysis, there's two results, or there's three results we get back. We get back the unique striation pattern of the casing that articulates it specifically to the gun, to that specific gun. Then you have the type of shell.
Do you like this, RP? I love shit like this.
PD Glock, an M1911.
I also love that they played in with the role like Secret Service.
Will come back to the
and I let Raya think this is sus government shit.
Classification.
Can you imagine Raya's POV
of the casing? So all pistols.
I'm like, they work for me.
All the casings come back with the same class. It's almost like the system was designed for us to be able to make this kind of decision.
I mean, it's not true, but it
like all the pistols,
creates like
all
an
the SMGs,
evil.
all the assault rifles, they all their casings all have what classification they are. You can say, oh, this is a submachine gun. Oh, this is a shotgun. This is a shotgun shell. It's
So I'm sorry. So it's
33945.
Are you recovering a casing type like 5.56 versus what is it
7.62.
7.62? Thank you. Versus slug versus 308. Like, you know what I mean? Or is it more about the gun? Because it used to be about the gun in the past, which was weird, but it is what it is.
It's not the. It is the type of gun. So I can say this is a pistol. Like when I'm looking at a casing, I go, this is a pistol casing. This comes back to an M1911. It's this 1911. So all the pistols, it's not based on the caliber. It's based on this type of ammunition is typically found in an SMG. This type of ammunition is typically found in an assault rifle. Even though it might be 9mm for this SMG, but also or this rifle and also this pistol, it would say, okay, the way this one was, pressurized. This is for a pistol. This one's for a rifle. If that makes sense. I mean, it doesn't.
Yeah,
really
it's like
make
the
sense,
firing pin.
It makes sense for this
leaves a
state.
mark on it or something.
I am very down, and in fact, we can explore this whole thing. I'm just giving an example, like you don't have to do it this way. Is like if let's say we took all these reports and you took that stuff and we had some like a slides where like here are the number of shit coming in from this. Here's the kind of guns that are being used to hurt people. We could pass a bill that restructures this stuff based on that data, which I'm a big fan of, to be honest. I like the idea of our laws evolving based on what's actually happening versus what could happen theoretically. Now, don't get me wrong. Bombs should be illegal because very obviously the destruction they could cause, right?
Power is different.
Yes. But we shouldn't pre-propose that like like a jump boot is definitely going to be used for a crime. You get
shotgun.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. If a sweeper is genuinely like insane with destruction, then yeah, that should be like the highest level of bad, right?
Yeah. And we should be able to, legislation, if we find that manufacturers of these guns are starting to really crap out on their production because they're trying to mass scale production and they get worse quality, well, we submit a bill and reduce their classification because they're no longer the big top dog that
exactly.
destroying the PD.
Exactly. Yes. Logic, not feelings.
Yeah. I didn't know if you knew how many different kinds of firearms have been found so far. If more than 40 it's a wild number, right?
I had no idea. I've the only thing I sometimes hear numbers about their totals, right? But I haven't really gotten much more than that.
Yeah. Yeah, and to think that only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those are class 1s. All the rest are class 2s right now. And it's like, man, they're on such a different scale.
I agree. Yeah. I like this a lot. All right. Well, gentlemen, anything else we want to chat about? I got to talk with Princess as well. No,
I'm sure you're a busy guy. I got to go stare at a spreadsheet for a while for Princess.
Hell yeah. I appreciate you all coming down.
Absolutely.
All right. All right. Easy.
All right, you be safe, Nino.
Take care.
Take care.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, Unc?
You know, not too much. Just kind of